This video was sponsored by the Deck of Many and their Big Bad Booklets series. The D&D community is filled with an interesting group of people. Whether you're a part of it to spread the love of the game, share your experiences, or cause some concerning amounts of trouble, everyone's here for a reason. Now, a large spectrum of the people in this community are great. They're creative, helpful, and generally cool. However, when a fan base gets large enough, there will always be some oddball human beings out there whose actions will cause others to raise a few eyebrows. I'm sure these groups of people also exist in other tabletop fan bases, but since I know for a fact they do for Dungeons & Dragons, that's the game I'm focusing on. Anyway, at some point like 4 months ago, I decided to offer D&D homebrew packs on my Patreon. Whenever a new pack would be released, I would send a community message on YouTube. Now, the wonders of YouTube allow my followers to write whatever they'd like in the comments section, and if you've been following me for any amount of time, then you already know where this is going. I don't have a problem with anime, but can you make these anime characters with more adult characteristics? There may be some serious legal consequence, if not for you, then your viewers, depending on their geographical location. This dude thinks that by me selling D&D homebrew with young-looking, non-sexualized characters on it, that either me or my fan base could be in trouble of breaking the law. This mindset isn't just one that plagues the D&D fan base, as if you've been keeping up with some of the latest Twitter wars, the existence of the anime Uzaki-chan was already debated into a pile of hot garbage. The main difference between these though is that Uzaki was a short girl looking for love, while these characters were just here to sell homebrew. Humans as a race have had this issue where they either praise new ideas or start riots against the most seemingly random stuff. Maybe the D&D community is still a bit uneasy to the concept of anime. Maybe they've watched some horror stories about creepy otakus who take their roleplay too far, or maybe they're just internet trolling. The one issue I could see with this homebrew would be that it could encourage more people to make younger characters, but even then, is that even really an issue? What's the stereotype that comes from this? Oh yeah, sweaty weeaboos would use this as an excuse to bring their high school anime girls into D&D. The immersion would be ruined and my day would be too. Stereotypes exist for a reason, and although incredibly ignorant to believe, it's still a truth I can't dismiss. Sometimes you'll have someone at your table who's there to become that weeaboo stereotype, but a lot of my friends who love anime also have a level head when it comes to D&D. I mean, they've spent the last decade or two having to hide their love of anime from their Western friends, so what's the difference now? Also, try to imagine someone who has that mindset of, I don't allow younger characters in my campaign. Picture them as a dungeon master. One of his players brought a warlock to the table with the Undying trait, which makes them age 90% slower. Now, because of this, would he allow the character to be around 14 to 15 years old? It's that mindset that really annoys me, because even if a character is legally of age, people will still scream that they look too young. The saddest part is that D&D as a role-playing game is meant to be a bridge for creativity. Unless in your fantasy world the people go from infants to grown adults in the span of 5 years, there are children that exist in your campaign, whether they're controlled by a player or an NPC. What the heck do you even do when a party member goes to talk to one of these younger NPCs? What happens if a player drinks a potion that reverts their age? Are they no longer allowed to play that character anymore? There's so many double standards that play into this mindset that I don't even want to try wrapping my head around them. If anything, a lot of really cool character concepts can only make sense with a younger character. Being young usually means being ignorant, uneducated, unperceptive, childish, awkward, and helpless. If your character is a wizard, then you could be a child prodigy. With some types of warlocks, you could look 10 years old but have been alive for more than 100 years. These traits fit really well, if not exclusively for younger characters, and would actually be more awkward for adults. Now, all of this is coming from a few obnoxious comments from my channel, but one issue that I've heard more about from other parts of the community that hit me even worse is when people complain about genders in role-playing games. If I'm a guy and I want to play a male character, then that's perfectly fine, but if a dude wants to play a female character, then that's where the red flags start. You're bringing a girl into my all-men campaign? That ain't allowed, bruh. Women just don't exist in my game, and even if they did, I bet the only reason you want to be a girl is so that you can be romantically attracted to your own character. That last part hurts my soul the most, but just to connect the dots, limiting someone from being a certain gender is just like limiting their age. 1. The DM gets to roleplay every NPC with any race, age, or gender, but if a player tries to do the same thing, then it's an issue. 2. If you bring one of them into the game, then you're labeled the weird player in the group. And 3. That player turns into that one shy kid in school who struggles to engage with people. Anyone with more than 5 working brain cells can tell they're a genuinely interesting person, but the haters find it easier to bully them for being different, and that's exactly what they do. Now, some of you may be blessed to have actual girls in your D&D parties, but if I've learned anything from my computer programming classes, most of you are dudes, and when every D&D party is filled with the same 6 burly girly men, things can definitely feel repetitive. Feminine characters tend to be more thoughtful, creative, beautiful, empathetic, and patient, while men tend to be more intimidating, strong, determined, and impatient. Those are just some pretty vague stereotypes, but rather than plastering a bunch of feminine traits onto your male character, just making a girl character could make more sense. The final point I'd like to address is the mindset of, but I don't identify as this gender, or I'm not a kid in real life, so it'd be wrong if I was one in D&D. Bro, it's a fictional dice game. Nobody should judge you on who you are in real life as opposed to in the game, and anyone who does is the real issue. To summarize, there's a small group of people in this world who enjoy creating controversy. I mean, I say that while I'm covering the controversy, but I wasn't the one who created it, just so you know. Thankfully, most of us in the D&D community are open to new ideas, and everyone who still disagrees after all of this can go back to enjoying The Hobbit. I'm sure we all love that movie for its unique and varied cast members. I also have to bring this up for some reason, but no, I don't condone predators, abuse of minors, or gender discrimination. Just because I said you should allow more options at your table doesn't give you the green light to start a D&D horror story. Follow the law, don't discriminate, and stay open-minded. Thanks for watching until now, and a reminder that this video was sponsored by the Deck of Many's Big Bad Booklet series. As most of you should know by now, the Deck of Many releases monthly bosses for D&D 5e. This month's big boy is Harathos, the fallen god of kings. Chained inside a stone prison for crimes against the gods, will you pledge your service or resist their offerings? If you're lazy like me and want some well-written story beats for your party, check out the link down below, and I'll see you all in the next video.